Hello and welcome from myself, Jamie at Geosynths, and I'm here today at Music Matter in Preston, and I'm here with the super talented Mike from Yamaha.
Hello.
You've got something brand new to show us, haven't you?
Yes, we do.
Let's take a look.
Oh my gosh, it is the new Montage M. I'm going to be completely frank, it does have ANX as a new sound engine. It has also, new and improved WAM2 as well as the FMX that was in the original Montage. So, yeah. Super excited.
Now, you've demonstrated the original Montage a number of times in the past. So when you first got this in front of you, you know, you have that whole history of the original. What kind of stood out to you the most straight away?
You know what? When I first got this, I thought it was going to be an upgrade from the normal Montage. I now feel that it's a completely different keyboard.
Okay.
One of the first things that got me was this section here, which is the new kind of category section that they've kind of streamlined, but they've made it so much easier just to navigate around your sounds and your categories. So now, even while in live set, I can still choose all my parameters. When I'm in performance mode, I'm still choosing my live set in performance mode. Category mode has also been made a lot easier. So if I want to choose particular sounds, I can go to the ANX engine and say I only want new sounds from the Montage M. And as long as my categories aren't selected, I can go through all the sounds that are in the new sound engine. Same thing with FMX and AWM2. So amongst a million other settings, that was the first thing that stood out.
Excellent. Now, one thing that's standing out to me is this monster screen over here, which is shouting at me, saying, touch me.
I can tell this is your thing, this is your screen. This is the new sub-display screen. What it basically does is it shows you all of your parameters depending on what sound you're playing. So if I'm using, for example, this pad, it's showing me the part volume. There's actually pages, so I can actually go through all the pages, and these are subcategories. So this is oscillator 1, oscillator 2. I can change the octave pitch, synth pitch.
And this is for the brand new sort of AN1X engine, which, of course, you know, for people who don't know, the original AN1X, which I used to have a long time ago, came out in '97, as I remember, and it sounded fantastic, and still, you know, to this day, people are still buying them. And when the first Montage came out, it had the brand new sort of FMX engine, but some people said, oh, you should have done the AN. And it actually did come out for a short while in an app. As I remember, Yamaha brought out the synth book. So it was on there, and there's a little AN.
Oh, that's pretty cool as well. It's got the arpeggio in there as well.
So it's got all of that. Now, obviously, this isn't perfect for playing, but of course, having it in the brand new Montage M makes so much sense. And of course, you've still got the other engines in there as well.
Yes, there's still the other engines in there. I can also control parameters for the FMX engine as well as the AWM2. So basically all three engines you can control from the sub-display screen.
Okay, this sounds great actually. So should we check out some of the sounds from there, some of your favourite ones?
Yes, of course.
Now, of course, what are the top level changes compared to the original Montage?
So with the ANX sound engine, we now actually have 3 oscillators. You have 1 noise generator. You also have 60-note polyphony. You've got FM and ring modulation. You've got pulse width modulation. For AWM2, you also have 128-note polyphony for the ROM, and you also have 128-note polyphony for the user. And then that gives you 10 gig for presets and 3.7 for flash. So,
right, okay, so the storage has hugely increased, because I think it was 1.75 gig originally.
Yeah, so it's jumped. It definitely has jumped.
Ah, right, because I can see a lot of people, especially people like myself, sound designers, using, of course, the analog modelling that's in there, but also sample sets of oscillators and slap them across it, or each of the keys, and you know, it's all storage has always been the crux of the matter. So it sounds like there's a lot of horsepower under the hood.
A lot. I mean, on top of that, with the AWM2 engine, it has actually now got expanded articulation. So if you don't mind, I'm going to put you to the test. I've got a sound here, and it demonstrates the expanded articulation. It's split, so I'm just going to say it's split.
Okay.
One side is here, one side's here, and I just want you to play and just see what comes out.
Okay.
Oh, last thing, if you do give a couple of notes a whack on the right-hand side, you'll get an interesting surprise.
Oh, okay. It's going to pay my bills, is it?
Really enjoyed that.
You know, there's so much there you're doing under your fingertips, because it does sound like some of the kind of more expression kind of controllers that have been coming out.
Yeah.
And so can you talk me through that sort of expression?
So I think the thing is with AWM2, it's more, dare I say, sample based. So it's almost, I think the sounds they get are obviously a lot more realistic and more organic. So it's just something that really helps partner with the synthesis and the analog kind of sound of the keyboard. I've got another one here that I really enjoy, which is almost like it's a string patch, but it's like ostinato and staccato. But the great thing about it, again, with the articulation, if I play it by itself now, it's just, yeah, it's a spiccato string. But as you, if I change basically the super knob, we'll push it further up, it becomes more of an articulation.
Ah.
Yeah, so if I push it even further than that, it's...
So in a way, it's because we've all got like sample libraries at home with our computers and that kind of thing, and they do sound great, but of course you've got to have a computer turned on and massive hard drives and all that kind of stuff. Yeah. And the reason why we go for that, apart from the realism, is that type of articulation.
Yes.
And sometimes, you know, with ROM-based synthesizers of the past workstations, they've had a little bit of movement, but it sounded a little bit too artificial. But that sounds like there's a lot of dynamics in it.
And it just goes to show, you know, the power of the AWM2 engine. It is really, and I mean, I can play a phrase, and then because it's automatically synced to the tempo, I just need to tap tempo it.
Right.
And it. And because we've got a completely new keyboard, new technology, I don't know lots about it right now, but I know it's new. So people are going to enjoy the bed.
Well, actually, that is a point, really. With this particular model, there's something quite different with it.
Yes. I mean, we're still, unfortunately, we still don't know absolutely everything right now. But I mean, I've played quite a few Yamaha synths, and I'll be honest, this is the best keyboard I've played. And it's very, very sensitive. So. So it's very responsive, very, very responsive.
Also, I can hear in those samples there's a lot of depth to them. There's a lot of quality in the low end. Sometimes it can be a little too static, that you find with samples, but there you've got that nice depth and girth. Girth, lovely word that, you know, to it. So if you don't mind just playing that a little bit more with a bit more sort of low end chords.
Yeah, of course.
Sorry, I'm composing with you. And that's the great thing. You could then use your expression pedal to bring in some legato strings and all that type of stuff.
Of course. And I mean, I've got a little patch that I actually was saving for you for later. That's got a little bit of that. If you're interested, I can play you a little thing that I've been working on.
Please do.
All right, here we go. It starts with just the flute. And then what I'm going to do is bring in some strings and some brass. And again, it's just the power and the realism. And I must say, from the normal montage, I mean, the sound was great, but they've enhanced the sound quality even more. And it does definitely show. So yeah, see what you think.
Wow, that change from the strings right down to the flutes. It's seamless. It's beautiful.
It's incredible.
I mean, I'm thinking there as you were playing, who would this be aimed at? But there's so many people. I mean, obviously, immediately I was thinking like people writing scores.
Yes.
You know,
yes.
whether it's like for games or whatever. But also you're performing musicians, you know, gigging or in church and so on.
It's true. I mean, I was just going to say, I've left a small surprise. The power that this has, I mean, what I'm about to say will sum it up. With AWM2, I mean, from the Montage, you normally could have 8 elements which would make one part. But with the Montage M now, you can have 128 elements which will make one part, which is absolutely massive.
That's huge. So it's a different shift away then from how things were previously done, because you did have those 8 parts and 8 performances. And then you could control them by scenes and so on. So now, rather than having that 2 separate ways, I'm just trying to think about it, 2 different ways, you've just basically expanded the elements, and then you've just got one performance slot.
And then you can also have, which with all the engines all together, I mean, you can have up to 400 notes of polyphony.
Wow.
Which is, I don't know another keyboard that can do that, respectfully. You know.
So the original Montage came out in 2016, and there was the 6, the 7 and the 8.
Yes.
Do we have the same sort of thing here?
It is pretty much the same. We have the Montage M6 and the Montage M7, and they both have the same keyboard as the Montage original. The Montage M8X is special in the sense that it has polyphonic aftertouch.
Wow. That is going to please a lot of people, definitely, because you know, we've started to see controllers and things like that, but they're usually you have to attach it to something else for it to really sound great. And the fact that we've got these multi-engines, which we will get into in a moment individually, which now can be controlled with polyphonic aftertouch, which makes so much sense when it comes to I mean, massive. Polyphonic aftertouch with the FM and the AN. Wow.
It's a synth. It's a honest, like it's a workhorse. It really is.
And I think people do sort of get things a little bit wrong. They just think, oh, it's a workstation, but it isn't. It's a synthesizer.
It is. It really is.
And you know, for this to be made, even if it could, in a kind of analog way, it'd be huge. It'd be a monster thing. So the fact that we do have that choice now, polyphonic aftertouch. Some people may say, oh, I wish it was in the 6 and the 7, but of course you do have your choice, don't you?
Yeah, you're spoiled for choice. You are spoiled for choice still. And if I may, in honour of the CS80, which also had polyphonic aftertouch, I would like to play a sound that is called CS80 Spectra.
Wow, pressure's on now.
All right, here we go.
So we've listened to, you know, the AWM2 engine and a little bit of the AN, which we'll go back to, but of course the FM-X engine is still in there, and there's some changes, but of course from that is the whole control aspect. So let's first of all, let's take a look at the FM-X engine.
Awesome. So I'm going to navigate. I'm going to show you how I navigate now on this. So I go to category mode, and again attributes FM-X, Montage M. So it's going to show me all the sounds.
And it's great that it's reflected straight away in this screen here.
Well, it's funny you mentioned that, because now they've actually added a quick edit which involves the new subscreen. You know, I know the DX7 and past synths, it was really hard to edit FM.
Yeah, you needed a maths degree.
Yeah, basically. So now what I can actually do, I can see all of my parameters. I can even see, obviously, the algorithm setup there as well. So while I'm playing, it just means that it's so much easier to edit. So if I obviously want to edit the attack, if it's a filter I want to change, I go.
That's always been the thing with FM synthesis, is because it is quite complex.
Yes.
Until you kind of understand the ratios and everything.
Yes.
We've been looking in that it came back on screen with plugins, but in the hardware world, it's always been a little bit tricky. And the fact now that we've got this visual element, and you can treat it very much like an analog synth.
Yeah, because we were saying earlier, analog synths, they specialize in real-time control, and that's what this is. This is actually real-time control. On top of that, a completely new feature we have is a navigation button. So if I press this button, it takes me to basically all the parameters of my patch. So if I want to go to the filter, e.g., and I want to edit there, again, I'm brought straight here. If I go back to navigation, I want to, you know, change the arpeggio. Again, anywhere I want to go, variation effects, you know, insert A, insert B, EQ, everything's absolutely there. So for every single sound, I've got multiple ways to edit, you know, my sound, and then there's still the way to go through the screens and the parameters like you saw.
So that's like a snapshot to a degree.
Yes.
It's kind of like a bird's eye view of your patch.
Basically.
And then that's the entry point into the different areas, but it's very quick to go back. And then if you want to micro edit, you've got this along
Exactly.
here.
I mean, right now, you might not realize, but I'm in the same parameter on two different screens. You know, I'm on the amp EG's here as well. So I can, you know, you're spoilt for choice, which is incredible. And again, you get obviously 88 algorithms like you did on the original Montage and all the other, you know, parameters. But this has just been added, which makes it even more efficient to edit.
It sounds like, and it looks like, it's more user friendly.
Yes.
And that was really probably some of the maybe negativity of that. It was very much, you know, very technical, even though it was visual. But this way now, it's more hands-on, and often you don't really need to go right down to the grassroots of the sound. You just want to tweak a few things for immediacy. Because while you're in that creative mode, you want to stay creative and not, you know.
This is it, And I mean, I was also going to say, the Montage M is for, I mean, I'm a live musician, but I like to produce as well. And I would say it's for both. So as a live musician, there's so many parameters that I can control. But even as a producer, it works really, really well. And I think workflow is really important for producers. So
Mike, you showed us there a little bit of the FM-X engine, which is, you know, it just looks a lot more, you know, inviting to use. Now, can we take a look a little bit further with the AN-X engine, because that's something that I'm really interested in.
Yes, of course. I mean, I've got, again, this is an AN-X patch that I've got, and I'll fiddle with some of the parameters and just give you a little listen. All right.
That sounded amazing, definitely. I mean, I could definitely see myself living in this mode for quite a lot because you've just got everything there. So like 1, 2, 3, your pitch details, and of course you go into more detail on the main screen and then filtering the various different types. Because I remember the original AM1X, I think it was 10-note polyphony, and you could do it. There was 2 scenes. You could have like dual sounds and you could morph and all that kind of thing, and add like ARPs and all that kind of stuff. So it's taken some of that element of the original and that sound, and of course people can't tell here, but it sounds amazing, in person. But then we've got that whole performance aspect.
Exactly.
Now, how will that work?
Well, you know what? It's again, like we were saying, the real-time controls are really important. And to be completely honest, I've not even mentioned the scenes. So in this patch there's only 4 scenes, there's 8 altogether. So I've got options. I can go through pages of the parameters, and there's 4 or 5 pages here, or I can still use the scenes. There's another control that I'd like to show you that, people might not be aware of, but we had the YC88 and the YC series that had the VCM organ. So they've now put the VCM rotary effect into the Montage M, but they've taken it a step further. We haven't mentioned the ribbon strip controller here, which is awesome. And so I've got an organ sound, and I'm going to navigate to the effects, go to my part, and if you look, there's a rotary effect here. You can see the VCM image there. But what I've actually managed to do with the Montage M is that the ribbon actually simulates and kind of copies a rotary effect on a real Hammond organ. So,
right. So go from slow to
there you
fast.
Go.
Yeah.
So this is my slow. If I put my finger here, this is stop, and this is fast. So I'm going to give you the honour of controlling the rotary effect.
Oh, great. I thought you were going to ask me to play on this.
So what you normally do, I've been doing it like that, but the real way for a real organ, you just flick it there. So feel free, I'm just going to play for 30 seconds. And you should also see the super knob speed up and slow down as well, which is pretty cool. So,
Take it away.
All right, here we go.
You missed that.
I know I've got to do the slide off, hasn't I? So again, you can control it with the modulation wheel, but the great part is just,
And it's quick, isn't it?
It's really
it becomes instinctual to then bring that on, because a lot of the time you do use the mod wheel for that kind of thing, but then you've lost the ability to use the mod wheel for anything else. So the fact you've got that, you could use an expression pedal, couldn't you?
You could if you like, but I just like the fact. Again, I play real organs every now and again, so it's just nice. Naturally, you'll always do that.
Yeah.
So it's always just nice having the kind of identical simulation of doing that. And on top of that, we've got 2 shift buttons. So if I want to change any of the parameters, I just press shift, and it takes me to a completely different editing screen. You can see here, step value 1, step value 2, step value 3. So I can actually change it and make sure that fast is on the left and slow is on the right. And so spoiled for choice again for parameters and editing.
But spoiled for choice, but what I'm noticing is the fact of speed of control.
Yes.
That's the thing, because you're not having to go into use one control for multiple things and not exactly know what it is until you've got the muscle memory going. But it looks like there's so many different ways into it, and then it's just quick and immediate.
It really, really is. And again, there's parameters I haven't even spoken about. One of the main things that you notice with the Montage M is that they've streamlined everything. So we've got these knobs here, and automatically I can, if I turn this one, automatically my patch becomes a favorite. I can change the view and the display. And it basically is to however your preference is. So for example, if I've got a synth sound, if I go to my pad and I come back, you can see that is a virtual analog view. Not only that, if I press filter 1 and 2, it takes me to the filter 1 and 2 screen. Again, if I press amp, it's almost like I jump straight to the editing screens, which is incredible. So it means that you can not only view in your own preference, again, like velocity notes, parts, I can just interact as well. It's very interactive, which means that I can just jump from screen to screen and control whatever I want a lot quicker than I did on the Montage original.
You see, that stands out from someone who's used different workstations from other companies before. Sometimes you're led down a merry path, you know, and you get lost a little bit.
Yeah.
The fact that the user interface here allows you to get to so many different things, but that one starting point makes a lot of difference. And of course, then it's reflected with other controls here. Yeah. That, to me, is like a killer feature for me. My eye's drawn to it all the time, as well as my ears. But no, it's definitely having those too. So can we take a look then at the performance aspect of it all, of using the multiple engines together?
Yes, cool. So again, something that's, I mean, it's been in the original Montage, but still is really helpful. Every live patch shows me what synth engine or sound engine is in the works, for example. So if I go to Poly Dreams, it shows me the ANX engine is running. If I go to my Whirly patch from earlier on, it's got AW2 ANX, so it's just showing me that those two engines are in play. So what I might do is I might find one that has all three, if I can. So for example, this piano, Ballad Piano 3, this one will be a good one. So I'll start with just an EP. So I can see here that the FM volume is maximum. So, and then the ANX volume is minimum. So I can bring that in there. Piano is the AWM2, which is the sample bass patch. This is the ANX EP. So,
I mean, that's just in one scene as well, isn't it?
Yeah, and obviously I'm demonstrating EP sounds. This can be synths, it can be pads, it can be anything, but it just goes to show I can control all the sound engines at different times. It depends on how you want to set your parameters, but the power just goes to show that you can have 3 different sound engines at the same time and still have control of each one.
Excellent.
Which is awesome.
No, it sounds beautiful, definitely. Yeah. So Mike, now obviously you'll have people who've got the original Montage and they'll want to upgrade and get this.
Yes.
What about their sort of library of sounds that they're used to going out and gigging with? Can they import those into this?
Yes, like the Mode X, the Mode X Plus, you can import sounds the same way. To be honest with you, I'm at a dilemma because I want to import sounds, but at the same time, because there's so much already there, I'm a bit like, do I need my sounds?
So it's changing your kind of viewpoint on how you perform and what with.
I'll be honest, I'm not sure if I can go home to my Montage. I'm not sure. I'm having a hard time. But yeah, I think it'd be a great
second-hand Montage up for sale soon.
Yeah, it's awesome. But it does, again, it's Yamaha, and one thing they do is the relationship between their keyboards is always solid. It's always great. So you can import your sounds into the Montage M if you need to.
Okay. And for you personally, Mike, what is the best feature of this synthesizer?
You know what? It is the ANX for me. Can I have 2?
Yeah, okay.
The ANX is great. Like again, 97, 98, I was a young boy, so I didn't get to appreciate the sound, but it honestly sounds great. But not only that, it's the navigation, because I am a church player sometimes as well, and if anybody knows gospel musicians, we need to move fast.
Yeah.
And I find that it is absolutely seamless. It is so powerful that there's no lag or there's nothing like that. So I do like the fact that I can control things at a touch of a button. I can, jump from sounds, and, I can do the same with scenes as well. I've just got so many options. So I do like the controllability and the efficiency of it.
Yeah. And the next thing, there was something else?
Oh, the sounds. It's the ANX sounds, and it's also the new category features as well. Those 2 are the ones for me.
So Mike, thank you very much for that. It sounded amazing, and the speed of it has definitely improved. I've certainly... if anyone will notice. But of course, if you want to find out more about the whole range of the M8X and 6 and 7, then please contact Music Matter. Details are all below, and it should be out now. So thank you very much. And from Mike and myself, goodbye.
Goodbye.
you.